I just found out that my fiancée slept with another guy while telling me to take it slow. She said her friends convinced her. I'm a 27-year-old guy, and I met my fiancée, Ashley, 22, last fall. I met her at my friend Peter's birthday party, which I initially hadn't planned on attending because I had an early shift the next day. However, Peter insisted, assuring me there would be interesting people, so I went. The party was pretty chaotic, and I was feeling pretty detached when suddenly a girl appeared with Peter's girlfriend. She was stunning, not in an artificial Instagram model way, but naturally beautiful, with big green eyes and a captivating smile that made me forget what I was saying mid-sentence. After introductions, Peter left us alone in the kitchen, and in that 3-hour conversation, we connected instantly. She was intelligent, worked at a downtown marketing agency, shared my love for true crime podcasts, and had a uniquely charming laugh. By the end of the night, I knew I had to see her again. I got her number, straightforward, no games. The next day, I texted her, waiting until the afternoon so I wouldn't seem desperate, and suggested coffee that weekend. She agreed, and our first date was as enjoyable and genuine as that first conversation. I thought, I can't mess this up. This could be really special. From the start, I was upfront about my intentions. At 27, I was done with casual flings and looking for something real. On our second date, I let her know I wasn't seeing anyone else and didn't intend to, which she appreciated, as she was also looking for something serious. After our third date, I even invited her to Sunday dinner at my parents' house. In hindsight, maybe it was too soon, but I was enthusiastic. My mom texted me afterwards saying she thought Ashley was the one. If only she knew how I already felt. The first few weeks were amazing. I planned dates that went beyond dinner and a movie. They were tailored to her interests. I got tickets to a local band she loved, and since she'd never been to a rooftop bar downtown, I took her to one for her birthday. I was putting in the effort. However, things got complicated physically. Whenever we started kissing and it seemed like things might progress, she'd stop, explaining she wanted to take things slow. She valued what we were building and didn't want to rush intimacy without a solid emotional foundation. I respected her boundaries completely. I never pressured, complained, or made her feel bad about it. In fact, I admired her wanting to prioritize emotional connection. During this time, opportunities arose with other women. A coworker, Megan, flirted openly and even asked for help moving one weekend. A friend's roommate also made her interest clear after a party. I declined both, committed to Ashley. When I'm with someone, I'm all in. About a month in, around Christmas, we had a special dinner and made things official. That night, I texted my brother saying I thought I'd found the woman of my life, even though I thought it was a bit cheesy at the time. As time went on, our relationship deepened. We started spending nights at each other's places and met each other's friends and families. A year later, on New Year's Eve, I proposed. I got down on one knee at midnight with a ring I'd saved for 3 months. She accepted tearfully, and soon Instagram knew. We even started planning our move-in together, visiting apartments and discussing details like TV placement and whether my gaming setup would fit in the spare room. I cleared half my closet for her stuff, reserved a bathroom drawer for her makeup, leaving only my basement as my personal space for NFL games and video games. I was already thinking about how we could rearrange it, maybe a couch instead of my recliner so she could relax while I watched games. Ashley's friends, Kate, Jessica, and Mia, were over at least once a week, integrating seamlessly into my routine. Kate brought snacks, Jessica always asked about my fantasy football team, and Mia even helped clean up after dinner. I felt lucky Ashley had such kind, close friends. Their detailed questions about our dates, gifts, and even the level of intimacy, I interpreted as support. Like any couple, we had minor disagreements, usually about trivial things like dishes or how long she took to get ready. But overall, I considered our relationship strong and stable. Last month, we attended a college friend's wedding at a fancy vineyard. I wasn't thrilled, barely knew the couple, missed the Patriots game, but I wanted to be a good fiancé and showed up in my best suit. Ashley, radiant in a blue dress, captivated everyone, and I felt proud. By the end of the night, seeing her by my side, I felt satisfied knowing everyone at the wedding wished they were in my shoes. However, an awkward situation arose during the reception. I went to the bar for drinks, and when I returned, a tall guy was talking to Ashley. While it didn't initially seem strange, Something in his gaze and her demeanor made me notice her discomfort. As I approached, the conversation went silent, and the tension was palpable. Introducing him, Ashley called him Ryan, a college acquaintance, almost dismissively. Yet, Ryan kept giving her insistent looks while she avoided eye contact. I figured there might be some unresolved academic history, but I brushed it off and joined another table for dinner. I didn't see him again until later, in the bathroom line. We made awkward small talk about the food and the band, but then he asked to speak privately, saying he had something important to tell me. We stepped out onto the small patio, and that's where he dropped the bomb. He told me he knew Ashley from Tinder, not college, and they'd hooked up multiple times last Christmas, right when she and I were taking things slow because she supposedly wasn't ready for intimacy. My first reaction was to want to hit him, but he seemed genuinely uncomfortable telling me this, like he just wanted to do the right thing. He showed me his phone with old Tinder conversations between him and Ashley from that December, even some messages after their encounters. The dates lined up perfectly with the beginning of my relationship with her. Ryan explained he had no idea Ashley was in a serious relationship. He learned about our engagement when he saw her at the wedding wearing the ring and felt he should say something, especially after hearing her refer to someone as friends from college, which was completely false. He made it clear he wasn't looking for trouble, and that's why he decided to tell me. Before I could process it, he gave me his number and said I could contact him if I had any questions. Then he left, leaving me stunned, trying to comprehend what I'd just heard. I spent the rest of the wedding in a daze. Ashley kept asking what was wrong, and I, unable to look at her, told her I had a bad headache, my mind reeling with the thought of her making me wait, claiming she wanted our first time to be special and meaningful, while she was sleeping with a stranger from Tinder. The drive home was excruciating. She tried to make small talk, and I gripped the wheel, fighting the urge to confront her right then. But I knew it wasn't wise to argue while driving. I needed time to organize my thoughts. Back at my place, I made an excuse, something about checking my fantasy football lineup, and retreated to the basement. I spent 2 hours in the dim light, staring at a Patriots poster, replaying the beginning of our relationship, all the carefully planned dates, the effort I'd put in, and all the women I'd turned down to focus on Ashley, who, during that time, was telling me to wait while hooking up with this Ryan. What hurt the most was remembering specific dates, like December 22nd last year, when I took her ice skating downtown, followed by a fancy dinner that cost around $200. She kissed me goodnight at her door, but stopped things from going further. Yet, according to the messages Ryan showed me, she met up with him that same night. The audacity. I checked my message history from that time. I almost threw my phone against the wall. There were all these sweet messages from Ashley, telling me how great she felt getting to know me, how special our connection was, and how eager she was to build something real before intimacy. It was all a lie. I cracked open a soda and tried to distract myself with SportsCenter, but my mind kept returning to those early days, questioning if any of it had been real or if I'd just been played while she had her fun. Around midnight, Ashley came downstairs to ask if I was okay, saying I seemed off. I couldn't look her in the eye and told her I was exhausted, assuring her I'd wake up soon. She eventually went to bed, and I ended up sleeping on the basement couch, unable to bear being near her. The next morning, I checked Ryan's Instagram and found old posts from December last year. In one, I could make out what looked like Ashley's purse in the background of his apartment. That image was a punch to the gut, and I dreaded the impending confrontation. Part of me wanted to pack her things, leave them on the porch, block her number, and forget about her. But after a year and an engagement, I felt she at least deserved an explanation, even though I knew nothing she said could repair the damage. She kept asking if I was sick or what was wrong. I couldn't look at her without feeling intense anger. After much insistence, I finally told her everything. I explained that I had spoken to Ryan at the wedding, that I knew about their multiple encounters in December when we were just starting out, and that she had lied about how they met. What happened next I'll never forget. Her face went from surprise to confusion and then to a strange calmness. She didn't immediately deny anything, which told me everything. Then, she started with "Who's Ryan?" Like she didn't know what I was talking about, feigning innocence. I played along to see how far she'd go, telling her he was the man we met at the wedding, who showed me the old Tinder conversations and text messages, emphasizing that the dates coincided exactly with when she was asking me to take things slow. That's when her story changed. She suddenly remembered, Ryan, but claimed it was brief and unimportant, something she'd honestly forgotten about. She said they only went out once or twice. Nothing serious happened, and it all occurred before we were exclusive. I immediately showed her screenshots of the messages Ryan had sent me, where they were planning a hookup for December 23rd, the night after our expensive skating date. In those messages, she was expressing how fun it had been and her desire to see him again. That's when she started to cry. Not genuine tears of sadness, but those manipulative tears used to make you feel guilty for confronting someone. She started saying it was all in the past, it didn't mean anything, and that, in the end, she had chosen me. I didn't budge and asked her directly why she made me wait to be intimate while sleeping with a stranger from Tinder. Her answer made me want to flip the coffee table. According to her, she made me wait because she actually liked me and saw potential in our relationship. She claimed that with men she genuinely cared about, she didn't want to rush into a physical relationship and complicate things, and she wanted to build a solid foundation. With guys like Ryan, whom she saw as casual hookups, she felt no obligation to wait. The absurd logic she presented was unacceptable. How could she, because of showing interest, make me wait and jump through hoops? While with others, whom she barely cared about, intimacy came effortlessly. She insisted it was normal. Many girls did it, and it meant nothing regarding her feelings for me. According to her, by the time we made our relationship official in January, she had stopped seeing Ryan or anyone else. I couldn't accept that, and I told her I needed space to think, suggesting she go home. That's when her tears intensified. She begged me not to end things over something that happened long before we were officially a couple. I just repeated that I needed time to process, until she finally left. As soon as she was gone, I went back to the basement, called in sick to work, and fell into a pit of thoughts, replaying all those early dates. How I thought we were building something special, how I turned down other women, even that really attractive girl from accounting who invited me over after the Christmas party, while this Ryan was having his way, getting intimacy for the price of a couple of drinks. The more I replayed it, the angrier I got. It wasn't so much that Ashley was with someone else at the beginning of our relationship, normal when you start dating, but the blatant double standard. I had to wait because I was supposedly special, while she indulged in no-strings-attached adventures. For the next 2 days, my phone blew up. Messages, calls, even a handwritten letter slipped under my door. In it, Ashley profusely apologized for the pain caused, explaining that she wished she'd been more honest. She assured me that this didn't have to ruin what we had, especially after almost a year together. Finally, after ignoring her for those intense days, I agreed to meet at a neutral coffee shop. I wasn't planning to end things immediately, although I was conflicted. We'd had a wonderful year, were engaged, and had so many plans. Was I really going to throw it all away over something that happened in the beginning? I arrived early and secured a corner table, away from the bustle, with only the constant churn of my nerves for company. When she entered, Ashley looked disheveled, like she hadn't slept well, hair in a messy bun, minimal makeup, and wearing one of my sweatshirts, one she'd borrowed months ago. We started with small talk, her asking how I was and if I'd slept. I couldn't hold back any longer and demanded the full truth about her and Ryan. No more half-truths and excuses. That's when the tears welled up again, and she started explaining with a speech laden with fear of losing me and regret for her past choices. According to Ashley, she'd done a lot of thinking and wanted to completely erase the past. Her version was that her friends, the ones I'd hung out with numerous times, even the ones who seemed friendly at parties and dinners, had coached her to treat me differently than guys like Ryan. They'd advised her to make me work for her attention while keeping her options open with casual encounters. One of her friends, Kate, even told her, and I quote, "Make him prove he's not just after a relationship. Don't give it up, but you can get yours on the side if you want." Hearing those words, my anger flared so intensely I almost blacked out. These same friends seemed to have conspired to manipulate my feelings, while Ashley felt like it was perfectly natural. However, she insisted her relationship with Ryan was limited to those early encounters, before we were official. She claimed that once we formalized our relationship in January, she cut off all contact with him and hadn't seen him since. She tried to justify it by saying that I, too, had dated other women before we were official, while she had supposedly been 100% into our relationship. I reminded her that, from our first date, I was all in on her, turning down other opportunities because I believed we were building something special. The real difference, I pointed out, wasn't that she'd had any encounters early on, but the double standard of making me wait while she engaged in no-strings-attached flings. That's when she offered logic so twisted it nearly made my head spin. She claimed to have been obsessed with me from the start, and for fear of scaring me off or appearing too attached, she decided to make me work for her affection. She admitted the strategy was immature, but she did it because of how much she felt for me. She also declared she didn't care about my past relationships, because, for her, what mattered was that, in the end, I had chosen to be with her. "I've always been faithful to you," she emphasized, downplaying anything that happened before we were officially a couple. As I sat there, overwhelmed and feeling like the world was crumbling, part of me wanted to believe her. Maybe I was overreacting. After all, the custom of dating multiple people before committing was common. But another part couldn't shake the feeling that our relationship had been built on a shaky, twisted foundation. I needed to know if there was anything else hidden, anything she hadn't told me. I asked her directly if there was anything else about her and Ryan I should know, warning her that if I found out anything later, our relationship would be over. Looking me dead in the eye, she replied, "I've told you everything. Ryan and I hooked up in December, before we were official. As soon as we committed in January, I cut ties, and I've been 100% faithful to you. I swear on my life." Even though I didn't break up with her right then, I told her I needed more time to think and suggested she go home. Her relief was palpable. She seemed to think she could still fix things. However, a plan was forming in my mind. Talk to Ryan and get his side without Ashley's version clouding things. That night, back at my place, I retreated to my man cave, reclined in my chair, and half-heartedly watched the NFL game. Despite Ashley's constant messages, I ignored them and instead looked up Ryan's number. I sent him a simple message, "Need to talk to you." There's more to the story than Ashley told me. The reply was almost immediate. We agreed to meet the next day after work for drinks. I met Ryan at a dive bar, far from downtown, strategically chosen so Ashley and her friends wouldn't find out. He was already there when I arrived, and although it was weird sitting across from the man who'd been involved with my fiancée, I could tell he was also uncomfortable. We ordered drinks, and I told him what Ashley had said, that their only involvement was limited to those days in December and that she hadn't had any contact with him since January. Ryan's reaction was immediate. He practically choked on his drink and slowly shook his head. "Look, I'll just tell you. She's still lying," he confessed. A knot formed in my stomach, his voice confirming my worst suspicions. Ryan explained that he wasn't looking for anything serious during those days. He then revealed he had 2 kids from a previous marriage whom he saw only on weekends, and when he had free time, he just wanted to have fun without attachments. The blow was unexpected. The idea of Ashley getting involved with a man actively parenting while telling me she was building something special with me was almost laughable, if not so painfully infuriating. Ryan showed me text messages from February 16th, 2 months into our official relationship, where Ashley had contacted him first, saying how much she missed him and planning a hookup. The evidence was clear. On February 16th, she had initiated contact. Ashley had told me she needed some time to herself, a few days of personal space to sort out her thoughts, and I, in my head, was already imagining she was going to leave me. I even bought flowers and prepared a romantic dinner for when she was ready to talk. But while I was in that whirlwind of insecurity, she was with Ryan. Ryan, with a genuinely apologetic expression, told me that according to Ashley, "You two were having problems and were basically on a break." The situation was getting more complicated. There was never any talk of a definitive breakup or seeing other people. Ashley had just asked for personal space for a week. This discrepancy left me perplexed because it wasn't a break or a temporary split. It was a complete betrayal, with painful additions. The real stab came when Ryan, scrolling through his message history, showed me texts where Ashley described me as the boring guy I date for financial stability and because he treats me well, although, at the same time, she assured him I was the love of her life, the most attractive man she'd ever met. On the one hand, I was husband material. On the other, merely a convenient option. Ryan confessed, with regret, that when he learned at the wedding that I was her fiancé, He was devastated and convinced that no man deserved to be deceived like that. It turns out, while I thought she wanted to take things slow, during those times she claimed to be busy at work or enjoying a night with friends in December, she was going straight to Ryan's place. The final blow was the February encounter, just 2 months into our exclusive relationship, when the indiscretion became a palpable betrayal. By the end of that fateful meeting, I knew I couldn't continue. Ryan and I, sharing the bitter experience of being deceived by the same woman, ended up connecting in a strange way. We exchanged numbers, and he offered me a ride home. Fury transformed into an overwhelming emptiness. Every "I love you," every future plan, every moment built on lies became unbearable. Back at my place, I went straight to the closet and gathered all her belongings. Clothes, toiletries, photos, gifts, everything. I packed it all in trash bags, not even nice boxes, because that's what my relationship was now, trash. I sent her a message with a picture of her things and 4 blunt words. "It's over. Get your stuff." Ashley called immediately, but I didn't answer. Her messages of question marks and pleas were met with a cold. "Talk to Ryan about February. Don't contact me again." She unleashed a flood of calls, voicemails, and texts, crying, apologizing, and justifying. She argued that the February incident was a one-time mistake, that she regretted it immediately, that she felt confused and scared by how fast our relationship was moving. Excuses upon excuses, failing to mitigate the damage. I decided not to respond. I silenced my phone and locked myself in the basement, firing up my game console and cracking open a soda. For the first time in days, I felt an unsettling peace from having made an irrevocable decision. An hour later, Ashley showed up at my door, crying and banging desperately. I indifferently opened it just enough to shove the trash bags out and slammed it shut. She completely lost it, yelling through the screen door that I was making the biggest mistake of my life and that, besides, I didn't deserve her affection. That's when she uttered a sentence that changed the dynamic. "I'm going back to Ryan. At least he knows how to treat me." I couldn't help but laugh, and, cracking the door open slightly, I reminded her, "You know Ryan has 2 kids from a previous marriage, right? Have fun playing stepmom." The expression on her face, first furious, then utterly surprised, said it all. After that brief exchange, she resumed sobbing and yelling for almost half an hour before finally leaving. Once alone, I picked up my phone and called her parents, who had been financing a large part of our wedding. I didn't mince words, explaining that the engagement was off because their daughter had been cheating on me since the first 2 months of our relationship and had lied blatantly until Ryan revealed it to me. Her father, a man of traditional, conservative values, was quick to express his shame and anger, even apologizing to me. He later cut off the rent payments for the luxury downtown apartment she occupied, making it clear that if she couldn't be honest with her fiancé, she didn't deserve it. Then I contacted the wedding venue, the caterer, and all the vendors, canceling everything in time, thankfully without accumulating too many non-refundable deposits. It's been 2 weeks since that day. I've blocked her number, her social media, and warned mutual friends that I don't want to hear from her. Some might say I was cold for not giving her a chance to explain in person or for avoiding a final conversation. But what was left to say? She lied repeatedly, cheated, and even badmouthed me to the man she cheated with. I'm not one for dramatic scenes or big confrontations. When something is over, it's over. Instead of wasting energy on anger or revenge, I decided to focus on myself. I've been spending time in my man cave, watching football, playing video games, and meeting up with some guys from my fantasy league on Sundays. Their support has been crucial. Ironically, though, football season is almost over, and when the games are done, I have no one to blame but her. Still, I'm grateful I found out before marriage, a house, or kids. I dodged a bullet, and for that, I'm thankful. The most ironic thing is that Ryan and I, despite being victims of the same game, now hang out occasionally. He's a good guy, and his kids are great. We even went to a sports bar to watch a game, and recently, he introduced me to a very attractive coworker. We're taking things slow for now, but it's comforting to see that life goes on. Ashley, of course, hates that Ryan and I are friends now, and that, somehow, makes me even happier. Finally, I want to thank everyone who has shown their support. Reading the comments made me realize I'm not overreacting, and I'm fully committed to never having her back in my life. She even tried showing up at my work to give more explanations, but I'm done tolerating her lies. And yes, for those wondering, Ryan and I are still on good terms. We see each other now and then, enjoy the games, and share some laughs. And he, just like me, got played. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.